coming-of-age anime series. The subgenre that is actually very common in anime. Without many of us realizing it, it's not even narrowed to the slice of life genre too. Your favorite battle shonen anime? Naruto, My Hero Academia, Fullmetal Alchemist, Jujutsu Kaisen, and many others have some coming-of-age elements in them. You can all see the examples in Itachi Uchiha and Van Hohenheim, how many sacrifices that they have made to the people they love and to serve for their respective nations. But I feel like their elements have to be watered down so that teenage boys... This is in no way to say that every one of you who watches that show has the maturity of a teenage boy to understand where the characters came from and how they become the way they are. However, personally, although those series have included some lessons of growing as a person, especially targeted towards adolescents, in terms of relatability and a slap in the face with a reality check, they are still not enough. Maybe it's due to the fantasy theme. They're a bit too far-fetched for some, though I can feel some sympathy for some characters there. But if you transition from the shonen demography to the seinen, which targets young adult males, there are some series that are on another level in telling coming-of-age stories. Stories that are fictional but not fantasy. They feel so close and relatable, which almost feel like they were inspired by real events. And the extraordinary thing about seinen coming-of-age series is that you can feel the characters growing with you, from struggling to fit in a whole new neighborhood to finally making memories they've gone through to last a lifetime. I'm taking two of the finest examples of coming-of-age stories in my opinion. The first one is Sakamechi no Apollon, or Kids on the Slope, and the other one is Skip and Loafer. Two stories about high school kids trying to find their footing in the new places and in their current stages of their lives. Stories about friendship, kindness, internal conflicts, relationships, past trauma, and adulting. They are my favorite coming-of-age series of all time, despite Kids on the Slope being often categorized as a music anime alongside the likes of Bocchi the Rock, K-On!, Hibika Euphonium, and many others. But it has a dominant coming-of-age element. They have a special place in my heart, and they didn't do it without merit. They have got something that other series that have attempted to portray growth failed to achieve. This video is going to be about the ingredients of what made them special. I might want to warn you that there will be some spoilers ahead. You might want to pause this video and pick it up when you're done watching the two series. But if you want to proceed at your own risk, then let's do it. Both Kids on the Slope and Skip and Loafer fall into the same genre, which is a slice of life drama. Both animated series might have taken place in different times, but they have a common theme. Both series have high schoolers as main characters who have to come to terms with their current state of their lives. In Skip and Loafer, for example, there's Mitsumi Iwakura, a country girl arriving in metropolitan Tokyo in the hopes of improving her family and her hometown's quality of life. There's also Sosuke Shima, the good-looking, popular guy who befriends Mitsumi and her fellow classmates. There's no need for either of them or any characters in the series to have insane powers or whatnot, but they just need to be as regular as ourselves. But the best thing about these very grounded characters is that we can feel like we're growing with them. We can imagine them in a normal life setting, something that isn't too far-fetched, and we can relate to some of their experiences that they have to go through. Mitsumi has to fit into the sparkling, vibrant, and extravagant life of Tokyo. It's nerve-wracking to see that you're the only one from the countryside. You have to get to know everyone around you, you have to adapt to the way they interact, you have to deal with someone side-eyeing you, making fun of your dialects or accents, the way you act, and many more. These types of experiences that Mitsumi is facing, I can relate to some of them. I used to move around a lot due to my parents' job. I needed to adapt to new environments every now and then, I needed to blend in, dealt with kids not accepting me to their groups, dealt with the vast differences in teaching methods at school, and many more. And seeing Mitsumi facing those challenges head on made me feel a deep connection with her. She's a great character, pure at heart, almost never has any ill intentions, and is a supple person. That's why she's one of the greatest waifus of all time. An ordinary character can kickstart an extraordinary connection with the audience. The same goes for Kids on the Slope. where this time a transferring student called Kaoru Nishimi was forced to move to a new school because of his father's job. He's had a hard time adapting to a new environment in the past because he moved around a lot and he never had the chance to just settle in one place for a long time. So it's very nerve-wracking for him to come to a new place without anyone he knows. Until the moment he met Sentaro Kawabuchi, a tough-looking guy who often slacks off and likes to wander around the school, a direct contrast to Kaoru, who's a very strict guy. At first, they look like direct opposites. Sentaro often gets to fight with other high schoolers, while Kaoru keeps everybody at distance. But they are united by one thing: jazz music. That one interest then opened the door for them to have deeper connection with each other. Kaoru started to understand Sentaro, and Sentaro could be more of himself around Kaoru. And I think that's how real connections were made with people, that you'd be brought together by some commonalities. That's how you finally come to terms with new people in a new place, which we would or should have already faced at some point in our lives. They don't need to have the same objectives of finding that one piece or achieve immortality or whatever. Those grounded characters were only written with simple premises, and their only goal was to become good people, or bring something good to the people around them. Though the two series have very simple themes and grounded characters, despite also having simple supporting characters, they actually added some more complexity to the plot, especially with how human the dynamics between them are. In Kids on the Slope, maybe the focus was more on the friendship and brotherhood between Kaoru and Sentaro. They come from vastly differing backgrounds and have to endure difficult periods in their lives. Kaoru's mother left home when he was in need of someone to come home to, especially when his father was out for work. Sentaro's family was broken, even after her mother left him and his siblings, and his adoptive father blamed him for his grandmother's death. All that Sentaro had as a company was a daughter of a record store owner named Ritsuko Mukae, with whom he developed a bond like brother and sister, despite Ritsuko harboring some feelings for him later in the story. Ritsuko, even though she was not necessarily a supporting character but a main one, she was an additional element to Kaoru and Sentaro's dynamics, whether that's the emotional connection between the two boys or between Ritsuko and each of them respectively. There were some occasions where Kaoru was eager to tell how he felt about Ritsuko, but Ritsuko was struggling to come into terms with the fact that Sentaro, the man whom she was keen on, didn't have the same feeling towards her. Kaoru then tried to balance between getting his feelings across to Ritsuko and keeping a healthy relationship with Sentaro. Once again, it's relatable. We've all been in that kind of situation, where we felt like we walked on thin ice. One step can either make or break our relationship with some people. That is why the complexity of relationship dynamics that was inspired by how we humans interact, with the addition of very grounded characters and themes, we can see some reflections of ourselves in that story. Even other supporting characters like their family members and classmates gave some elements of development to them. Just like us, our neighborhood can shape us into someone who we are now. These characters are no different. Their classmates and relatives even shaped the choices either Sentaro or Kaoru made. Kaoru felt betrayed when Sentaro chose to join their classmates' rock band instead of performing in a jazz band for the cultural festival. Sentaro also got furious when Kaoru was acting strange after the latter witnessing his love wasn't reciprocated. So their supporting casts don't have to be an extraterrestrial being or someone with insurmountable power in order to shape the main characters. Only having the people from their surroundings can actually lead to very complex dynamics between one another. The same can be said with Skip and Loafer. The supporting characters are just Mitsumi and Sosuke's classmates, Mitsumi's family and her friends back home, Sosuke's old friends and former co-workers, and other students related to their activities at school. They're all starting from the same point as everyone else in the school, but the way they approached the beginning of their late adolescence were different. Mika Egashira, the one who literally sits in front of Mitsumi in class, saw Mitsumi as her subordinate due to her innocence and her country girl background at first. She gave her the bare minimum treatment, which caught the attention of another classmate named Yuzuki Murashiki, a quintessential beauty queen of the class and the popular one from the get-go. Yuzuki, though seemed cold and unapproachable at first, was actually found to be honest and compassionate. She told Mitsumi to be wary of Mika's treatment, which Yuzuki saw as a move to get to Sasuke. However, that didn't stop Mitsumi from being the kind-hearted person that she is. As the story goes on, she is successful in befriending both Mika and Yuzuki at the same time. She even brings a nerdy and socially awkward girl named Makoto Kurume into her circle of trust, where Makoto finally learns to loosen up and to be comfortable around a popular girl like Yuzuki, whom she used to avoid her kind. The relations between those characters show that even when the odds seem to not be in their favor, with different backgrounds and upbringings, but when they try to understand and respect each other's boundaries, they could come together and become great friends. Their relations also highlighted the one important characteristic for each of them, for Mitsumi and Sasuke, in the story. Mitsumi's intention has always been good. Though how many people try to fool her or turn her against them, she will not think about hurting other people, but rather to bring them together and show them their good side, that even themselves never realize they have it. Meanwhile, for Sasuke, it's all about starting anew and getting to know new people in order to decide his own happiness. In his new life, he's slowly learning about living a simple life, especially when he sees Mitsumi, where she enjoys everything life gives to her. These two series have not only nailed the relations between their main characters and the supporting ones. Just like normal human beings, we have our own struggles and upbringings. And so have they. Those are what made them colorful and gave color to their interactions. As for the characters, it is very common that the main ones have the most depth compared to the supporting ones. We all know the upbringings of Naruto, Edward and Alphonse Enric, Tanjiro and Nezuko Kamado, and many other battle shonen protagonists. They all came from very tragic backgrounds. Though not as tragic and far-fetched as those, characters like Mitsumi, Sosuke, Sentaro and Kaoru came from various backgrounds, yet very simple and grounded upbringings too, as I have explored before. But what those coming-of-age series did better was in creating depths in their supporting casts. In Kids on the Slope, a character like Junichi, the one Sentaro saw as a brother, was given a good lore to set up for a surprising twist in his personality. He was yearning for validation, recognition, and a companionship, which he lacked growing up as a kid when Ritsuko's family took care of him and when he lost his political career. He actually seemed lost, dissatisfied, disoriented, and insecure behind his charming facade, because he didn't know what to do with his life. Something that hits a bit too close to home for someone in their mid-20s. Even to the point where he ruined not only his life, but also his close ones. He made Sentaro turn against him, and he hurt Yurika, who used to be Sentaro's senpai and crush. Meanwhile, in Skip and Loafer, there are a ton of characters who possess great depths in their writings. As I mentioned before, Mika sees Mitsumi as someone below her status, and it doesn't come out of the blue. From the first few episodes, we can see that Mika has an interest in Sosuke, which is why she harbors some jealousy towards Mitsumi, who's close to the boy she is infatuated with. However, the way Mika perceives Mitsumi actually has got to do with her past. She used to be someone who came from the lower rank in the social life of middle schoolers in the past. She was not taking care of herself, she was being ridiculed, and that made her insecure of herself. That's the reason why she's determined to change herself, climb herself up the ranks, to be recognized as one of the top girls in the class. So, when Mitsumi, who in Mika's mind is ranked below her, is close to the top tier boy, her insecurity intensifies. However, Mika slowly comes to terms that Mitsumi has never had any ill intention towards anyone, not even Mika who looks down on her. Mitsumi never looks down on anybody, and that gives Mika a harsh reality check. When Mika finally realizes this, she finally accepts that they're on equal footing and slowly become close friends afterwards. In contrast with Mika, Yuzuki, the beauty queen of the class, doesn't want to be seen as sacred, higher than thou human being. She just wants to lay low and doesn't want people to be intimidated with the way she looks and how it affects her social status. When in reality, Yuzuki just wants to be as ordinary as possible. This is due to her past where she had to be forced to join a clique, but she didn't feel like she belonged there. Furthermore, she explained that she had to be involved in various friendship and relationship dramas, which she didn't take part in at all, just because she was there in the middle of the storm. That is what motivates her to just want to be as ordinary as possible. She also befriends Mitsumi because despite her innocence, a pure soul like her needs to be assisted in navigating the rollercoaster of adolescence. Hence, Yuzuki offered to leave the karaoke party together with Mitsumi if she felt uncomfortable with it. Makoto, on the other hand, originally had no intention to start anew. She initially wanted to just mind her own business until she knew Mitsumi. Knowing that Mitsumi is helpful and naturally kind-hearted, Makoto starts to ease off a bit around new people like her. But when she was forced to blend in a group, especially when Yuzuki was around, because of the way she perceived people like Yuzuki to be the same as those who belong in cliques and telling people that they're lame, Makoto kept her guard up again. Yuzuki knew about this, and she was very careful about getting through Makoto. Yuzuki was honest, then she told Makoto that she didn't want to force Makoto to interact with her. But then, Makoto actually found out that actually the other side wasn't too bad at all. Makoto finally realized that there might have been some people who look like they're just an average Ryaju or a part of the clique, until it's proven that they are actually not. So the complexity doesn't stop with only Mitsumi and Sosuke. The supporting casts are also decorated with different colors that add something more to the story. Mika finally comes to terms with the fact that she can just be herself without trying hard or stomping on someone else to be seen as someone. Yuzuki finally finds a new place where she can be seen as an average girl, escaping her drama-filled past, and Makoto, who is finally out of her shell and learns to get to know people before making a judgment. Not only them, there's also a wealth of supporting characters that you can find in the manga, which has surprisingly rich backstories too. You'll find out how now Mitsumi's aunt, who is actually a trans woman, resolved her identity crisis, how a kid called Ujie-kun, who is hostile at other people at first, learns to accept differences and softens up, and how Kento Yamada slowly maturing by not punching above his weight and finding beauty from unexpected places. These two series really bring out the best of character writings. Supporting characters were not only there to support the mains, but also to bring complexity and relatability to the story, so that they have more purpose than just being there. They don't have to be a lot, like what they did in Kids on the Slope. Only several characters are enough to bring a realistic feel to the interactions and emotions of each character, particularly to the main guys. And they don't have to be as black and white as who's the villain and who's the hero, like Skip and Loafer. Life is not always about binary choices. People can turn against you, but they can also be on your side at the same time. And those are what made the coming-of-age anime series to be complete and greatly impactful. Those elements, in my opinion, are what made coming-of-age series to be excellent in their storytelling, the emotional impact to the audience, and their connection to the franchise. But can a series have a good relatability and impact to us without having those elements? Yeah, absolutely. Those are just the boxes for me to tick when I'm about to witness a coming-of-age series. You may have different criteria as compared to mine. They are all completely subjective. You may feel a closer connection to the battle shonen series, or you may feel the same as me with seinen drama or slice of life series. But for me, there are still many series out there that I might haven't come across that tick the boxes, or some that might not have any of them, but are still good series to watch. I haven't checked out Welcome to the NHK, and I'm currently picking up Sing Yesterday for me after a while, since it has a very good illustration of adulting in the beginning. And though it's not my favorite, Just Because was also a good coming-of-age series too. It's still a good series to make us realize that adolescence for some may not all be sunshine and rainbows, but a proving ground before coming head-to-head with reality. Even in the spring 2024 anime season, it looks like a very good coming-of-age series is going to leave a lasting mark on me. It's called Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, about teenagers' escapism. There are plenty of great series that fall into the category out there that we might have not known before. But for me, the best coming-of-age series are the ones that can combine all those three elements of a grounded theme, realistic relationships, and complex characters into one manga or show. And Skip and Loafer, along with Kids on the Slope, have all of them. Give them a try. I highly recommend them because of their impact on audiences like me. Thank you for watching this video essay up to this point. This is actually the first time ever for me to do this type of very long content. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you don't mind hearing me yap like this again about things that I like, then you can subscribe to my channel. It would be very much appreciated. This has been Zima. See you when I see you.